Thou tottering prick-eared wayface, thou impertinent court-based measle, thou puny fat-kidneyed wrinkled witch. Okay, you probably wouldn't actually use those insults on someone today, but you might say something like,
they're uncivilized deadbeats. Smash.
Calling someone uncivilized or a savage or barbarian is a common insult. See how the millionaire treats the indigenous man in this episode of Gilligan's Island.
Stop with those lame excuses. You're absolutely uncivilized.
But I think Disney actually explained the concept better than I can.
Savage is just a word, a term for people who are uncivilized.
Like me.
Well, when I say uncivilized, what I mean is...
What you mean is, not like you.
But what is a civilization, and why is he part of one but thinks she isn't? To the dictionary! And by that, I mean I'm not actually going anywhere because I'm just going to use one online. Civilization is an advanced state of human society with high levels of culture, science, industry, and government. In that definition of the word, it's not insulting if you don't hit the criteria. But in the past, insulting someone by calling them uncivilized meant you're saying they're inferior, bad, or immoral because their culture's different. This is World History Basics by History Hookup, and for the rest of the series, we'll be spending time explaining major moments in human history between when the first human ancestors showed up and our modern life today. The least difficult way I can explain what a civilization is to you is to give you some examples of the very first civilizations. They all developed in areas heavily impacted by the agricultural revolution. This isn't a coincidence. A civilization can't exist without a food surplus. People need time to make technological advances or study the stars, and if they have to farm 24/7, ain't nobody got time for that. 4 major civilizations emerged after 3500 BCE that were all in river valleys: Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus River Valley or Harappan civilization, and the Huanghe or Yellow River Valley in ancient China. In the Americas, the Norte Chico civilization and the Olmecs also developed, but not in river valleys. To understand the criteria of civilizations, we break them into 6 main parts: geography, religion, achievements, politics, economics, and society. These spell grapes, or for some reason, you need an acronym to help you remember them. Please don't vine at my grape puns. Okay, I'm done now. We'll take a look at each part and see examples from the 4 river valley civilizations. The geography of the civilization, things like the landscape, the soil, water types and locations, plant and animal life, the weather, and the climate all impacted the civilization. Each of these civilizations developed near rivers because they provided water, transportation, and the soil around the rivers was extremely fertile. This fertile soil helped farmers grow extra food, which encouraged the population to continue to grow, and soon some villages developed into cities, which became urban centers of culture, commerce, manufacturing, and the center of new governments. Mesopotamia literally means land between the rivers, which are the Tigris and the Euphrates. Egyptians built their civilization along the Nile River. The Indus River Valley civilization had, wait for it, the Indus River, and for ancient China, it was the Huanghe, aka the Yellow River. The religious component of a civilization covers the people's beliefs, traditions, morals, gods, goddesses, myths, and holy texts. Most early civilizations were polytheistic, which means belief in multiple gods and goddesses. These include Enlil, Anu, and Enki in Mesopotamia, Osiris and Isis in Egypt, the Lord of Beasts and Mother Goddess in the Indus River Valley, and Shangdi and Tian in ancient China. The culture and ideology of most early civilizations is heavily influenced by religion. We know this because they built huge religious complexes like temples, palaces, and statues to worship and honor their gods, and left examples of holy texts. All civilizations have achievements like the development of language, literature, arts, architecture, math, science, astronomy, inventions, and technology. One key achievement that Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus River Valley, and ancient China shared was writing.
You ever heard the phrase, the pen is mightier than the sword?
Writing helped unify the people, solidify the beliefs of their religion, and keep the government and economic sectors organized. Cuneiform is a series of wedge shapes originally made into clay tablets in Mesopotamia. Hieroglyphics developed from pictographs in Egypt. The Indus script looks like this, but it's still mostly undeciphered. Some of the earliest writings from China were oracle bone scripts. Questions asked on bones which were heated until they cracked, and then the ancient psychics would interpret the cracks to answer the question. Politics is another important aspect of a civilization. Early civilizations' governments were led by chiefs or elders, and they managed projects like food production and irrigation. They developed because the larger communities needed some authority to organize and regulate them. Early civilizations' governments also fought wars and organized armies to protect their resources from others or to gain more resources for themselves. In Mesopotamia, the region was full of independent city-states, each ruled by a god king. In Egypt, the land was ruled by pharaohs in a unified state. We don't know much about the Indus River Valley civilization's government, but the layout of the city of Harappa is in a grid plan, so we know there was some level of political organization. In ancient China, emperors ruled, claiming their right to rule as a mandate from heaven. Civilizations all have some sort of economic system. This includes resources, foods, products, goods, money, taxes, labor, tribute, trade, and jobs. Specific jobs developed in early civilizations because the food surplus meant not everyone had to farm. People could specialize in specific things like painting or sculpting, metalworking or weaving, or other jobs. In the ancient world, Mesopotamia traded with both Egypt and the Indus River Valley. But at this point in time, China wasn't trading with those three because they were pretty far away. Civilizations also have a societal component. There are the more obvious day-to-day things like what do they wear, what do they eat, where do they live, and then there's the social structure. This means that there are social distinctions between people like ages, jobs, wealth, family connections, or other things that dictate how important a member of society each person is. In most early civilizations, the social pyramid looks similarly, with the top class being the gods and rulers, and then the priests and nobles. Below them were the wealthy merchants and artisans, and then the farmers, and finally at the bottom of the social hierarchy were peasants and slaves. If you're thinking, hey, wait, don't other groups have these things too? You're right. Every group has these things to a certain extent, but remember our definition? To be considered a civilization, these things have to be an advanced state, or a society has to have high levels of them. A society with spoken language is less advanced in communication than one that has a written language too. A political system with the chief is less advanced organizationally than one that has a bureaucratic system involving many people in different roles. An economic system based on barter between villages isn't the same as one involving money, credit, and taking place between urban centers. So,
why is it an insult?
Over time, civilizations gained wealth and power, and to the people living in them, it started to seem like they were better and smarter and morally superior to others who didn't live that way. They began treating people who lived in pastoralist, nomadic, tribal, and hunter-gatherer lifestyles as lesser humans. That's why people like the Millionaire and John Smith were using the word as an insult. We know today that there's not a difference in intelligence between people in civilizations versus non-civilizations. It's just a difference of lifestyle preferences. So go ahead and keep using those Shakespearean insults instead of calling someone uncivilized. You'll sound smarter anyway.